Hello, peace, peace, peace. Welcome to the Sistarhood Community Podcast. Today's episode, I'm going to be speaking about the Sacral Chakra, and I'm going to be referring to the book again, Eastern Body, Western Mind. The previous video, we did the root chakra, so we're just working our way up from the base all the way to the crown of the energy centers within our bodies. So let's dive right into it. I pray you all are doing beautifully today. Here we go. So the sacral chakra is in charge of our emotions, our sensuality, our playfulness, our needs, our desires. What else does it say? Pleasure, sensation, movement. So yeah, I'm gonna dive right into this. So the element of the sacral chakra is the water, which makes sense because our emotions are supposed to flow. And I like to say like emotion, as in like ocean, because it's like the waters of our emotions. So it's just funny that it just happens to be the water element. It's called, the Sanskrit name is Svadhisthana, which means sweetness. The purpose is movement and connection. The issues in the sacral chakra are movement, sensation, emotions, sexuality, desire, need, and pleasure. Meaning, these are the areas that we struggle with when we don't have a balanced sacral chakra. The color is orange. The location is the lower abdomen, the sacral plexus. So it's pretty much like below the belly button, like in your pubic line. The identity is emotional. The orientation is self-gratification. The demon is guilt. So that's like the opposite of a balanced chakra. So when we're in a state of guilt, we're extremely imbalanced, and it all that energy that could be used towards feeling alive and our sensuality and playfulness and stuff, the guilt affects how we physically feel, our emotions and everything, and we end up being in a very low vibration. The developmental stage is 6 months to 2 years. So during that time, if your caregivers did not allow you to express your emotions, if they shut them down, if you were verbally, physically, mentally abused, then you have a very challenging time, if you haven't healed as an adult, expressing how you feel, even recognizing how you feel and speaking up about it, moving through the world accordingly. You end up suppressing and numbing your emotions, and you find yourself seeking approval from others, validation, and I really believe like this is the reason why we tend to trauma bond when we haven't faced our emotions, because that's our way of feeling like accepted, because we also surround ourselves with other people that don't have the emotional maturity or intelligence, and then we just form something that's not sustainable, because when you're not in tune with your emotions, your reactions to things can be impulsive or just not grounded. You're not acting with clarity. and discernment. You're more so just acting off the emotion and an impulse. So yeah, also just like being able to express yourself like however you were as a child. If you're creative and you had all these dreams and desires, or when I think it's 6 months to 2 years, I mean, that's really when we start to explore. We're exploring our environments. And yeah, if you were taught to just be still and just not explore yourself or your environment, your needs weren't met. Yeah, the emotions is huge. If your emotions were casted aside and things, then you have a very challenging time with that, and with your sexuality and stuff, because you haven't explored yourself in a healthy way, which I'll go more into in a little bit, because I'm going to read about some of that too. So the developmental tasks, sensate exploration of the world. So like I said, if we're not allowed to explore our environments, if we're kept in a crib or a playpen all the time, or we're not going outside, like our parents didn't take it, our caregivers didn't take us outside or anything, then that curiosity just becomes like diminished some, and we don't feel this freedom as well. Locomotion, a developmental task. I'm not quite sure what that means. Let me just see if I can pull this up real quick. I'm just curious. So locomotion is movement or the ability to move from one place to another. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying about the playpen and things. So the basic rights: to feel and have pleasure, to feel our emotions. There's a geese outside. It just went by. It's just like right in front of the window. There's no pond near, so it's really interesting to see. And to have pleasure. Like when we're born into this world, we're naturally curious, and everything is pleasurable, and we want to try new things and do everything. So we lose sight of that over time when we're not encouraged to explore in our bodies, the world, and yeah, our dreams and such. So the balanced characteristics: graceful movement, emotional intelligence, ability to experience pleasure, nurturance of self and others, ability to change, healthy boundaries. Boundaries are huge. When you're not taught to have boundaries, and then you'll like unconsciously let everybody decide what you should do with your life, and you go off everybody else's what everyone else wants, and you end up like neglecting yourself and abusing yourself in the process. And that goes with whatever it is. Like, say your friends, your family, they want to go somewhere you don't really want to go, but you're like, let's go, F it, like, sure, why not? You get there, you're miserable. You know what I'm saying? You're not accepting the fact that maybe you just wanted to stay at home and watch a movie, kick up your feet, take a bath, whatever it is. You win anyways. That also ties into sex, like sexual experiences. I feel as women, and I'll speak from my experience especially, we tend to feel like sex is one of the main things that we have to offer at all costs. It doesn't matter how we feel, because that's how our partners or whomever will be interested in us. That's how we'll keep them around, because men are naturally sex driven. This is something someone told me about research that he did. So of course, like when they see us, they're like, whatever. And if we don't feel like it and we go against that, we are abusing ourselves and the other person. Because why are we putting ourselves in a situation that we don't even feel comfortable or we're not even in the mood for? Meanwhile, our body literally responds to that. So there's a reason why, baby, you's dry down there, and you're faking it with the moans and all that stuff. You're not feeling it. So instead of faking it, acknowledge how you feel and accept it and honor it. I say honor how you feel. Honor your body. It's wisdom. Because when you go against how you feel, you're telling yourself you don't give a fuck about yourself at all, baby. And you got to care more about yourself than the other person's feelings. If someone doesn't want to like mess with you after that, like be involved in your life, they're not meant for you. Because when you're honoring yourself and how you feel, and someone doesn't respect that, then just know that there's someone else out there that will see that and respect you for honoring how you feel, because they also honor how they feel. And y'all can create a relationship where it's like you don't ever go against that. That's how you create something harmonious and long-lasting. Self-respect for yourself, and then aligning with someone who also respects themselves, so that y'all can come in union and respect one another. That goes with friendships, family, anything. Like if someone doesn't accept and respect where you're at and how you feel, then you need to distance yourself respectfully and do what you gotta do for your peace of mind and your health and well-being, baby. So, let me get back into it. So traumas and abuses. Sexual abuse, covert or overt, emotional abuse, volatile situations, neglect, coldness, rejection, denial of child's feeling states, a lack of mirroring. So the lack of mirroring, say when we're children, we're like smiling and we're excited, and then our caregivers look at us with like disgust, or maybe they're in their own emotions of guilt and shame, and they're sad and depressed, and they're not mirroring back those smiles. That affects how we feel. And then how we show up with our caregivers. Y'all good? Okay. Go play for a little bit and I'll be on. So that affects how we feel like safe to be ourselves and safe with the people whom are around us. Because when, say like, well, I pretty much said that, but if you're a child, like say 6 months to 2 years, and you're smiling and you're upbeat and your parents hardly smile at you, even I feel touched too. If you're touching them, you're wanting affection and hugs, and then they're not embracing that and also giving you that back, then you just kind of distance yourself and you just kind of stop smiling as much, and you're not showing as much affection because you're not receiving that in return. And yeah, it doesn't feel good. So enmeshment. So I'm still under traumas and abuses, just so I can clarify that. Enmeshment. So when your emotions are so enmeshed, like your parents basically claim your emotions as theirs pretty much, and then they teach you that their emotions, like to be enmeshed in their emotions. So you're not developing an identity with yourself on how you feel as an individual. You become overly concerned with their emotions, and then they're overly concerned with yours, and there's no like resolution. There's no saying, you know what, these are your emotions, it's gonna be all right, you're gonna get through them. It's more so like, your I had to make sure my volume was on because I did that before, my speaker. But it's basically like your emotions like you're going to be in the emotion forever, and it affects how your parents feel, and their emotions affect how you feel. And yeah, that's really a lack of emotional intelligence and maturity too. Emotional manipulation. So being emotionally manipulated by your parents or whomever you're surrounded by at a young age, that's big. I'm almost on a time frame, so I'm not going to go too far into that right now. I do suggest Googling emotional manipulation in childhood and just in general, because that may shine light on a lot of maybe your patterns, as well as why you have those patterns and what you grew up in, who you were surrounded by that had these patterns. And I suggest looking up any of these things that I'm speaking about, because like I said, I have a limited amount of time right now to make a video. So overuse of playpen or restricting normal movement, like I had mentioned. Religious or moral severity. Anti-pleasure. Physical abuse. Alcoholic families. Inherited issues. Parents who have not worked out their own issues around sexuality. Untreated incest cases. So, for me, I had a very difficult time with my sexuality, with embracing the sexual, sensual aspect of who I am, because sex was very distorted for me at a young age. I was addicted to porn at the age of 6, and when I tell you addicted, I mean it. Up until about a year ago, I haven't watched porn, I'd say probably 8 months or so, and it just, after before that year, it just started not resonating with me, because I got a heightened awareness around the abuse in it that the woman does to herself, the men to themselves, the dirtiness. It's just it's not something that a divine feminine or divine masculine would do. Clearly there's this distortion, but so and trauma involved, you can see the deep woundings in people as you heal and evolve. So for me, I was addicted to porn at 6. I seen sex toys, I seen my father get fellatio, I seen a lot of stuff that a young girl shouldn't see. And because my father's view of women, he viewed them sexually, physically. So he would talk about women's figure, judge them off that. He wouldn't date women if they were older than him or even the same age. He always was dating younger women up until my adulthood, but excuse me. So I internalized the belief that a woman's worth was based on what she looked like and, if she gave in sexually. That's what made her most valuable. And of course, I cooked. I did other things in relationships and stuff, but I see how I really felt like that's what men wanted from me. So I put myself, when I was in relationships, there was moments I didn't want to have sex, but because that person wanted to, and we weren't connecting in any other way that I desired, like quality time and such, I would just give in sexually. And then the whole time I'd just be over it. And afterwards, I just feel used and just it wasn't fulfilling at all. There's not that emotional connection. So the sex it wasn't great, and they felt amazing. They were yes, and I'm just nah. But it took me a long time to come to that awareness. And I'll never go against my body again. That's been a process, but absolutely not ever. Because when you want to have sex, your body opens up and the waters flow. When you don't want to, your body reflects that. Because everything we feel and think affects our whole entire beings. So anyways, back into it. So a deficiency in the second chakra, the sacral chakra, a rigidity in body and attitudes, frigidity, I don't know, fear of sex, poor social skills, denial of pleasure, excess boundaries, fear of change, lack of desire, passion, excitement. So the excess, sexual acting out, sexual addiction, pleasure addiction, excessively strong emotions. You're ruled by your emotions. You have hysteria, bipolar mood swings, crisis junkies. You're just, addicted to drugs and things. You're oversensitive. Poor boundaries, invasion of others' boundaries. So you don't know when to stop. If someone says, I don't want to talk to you, you're like texting them, you're calling them, and you're just freaking out. You have anxiety. Been there, done that. Seductive manipulation. So you manipulate people with a seductiveness to get what you want. Emotional dependency, which is huge if you haven't received emotional validation and things as a child. You rely on others to validate your emotions instead of validating them for yourself. Obsessive attachment. All of these I've experienced. So, physical malfunctions, disorders of reproductive organs, spleen, urinary system, menstrual difficulties, sexual dysfunction, impotence, premature ejaculation, frigidity, non-orgasmic, low back pain, knee trouble, lack of flexibility, a deadened senses, loss of appetite for food, sex, or life. So the healing practices, movement therapy, emotional release or containment as appropriate. Containment as appropriate. Probably when it comes to like certain settings, like, learning what is appropriate for the setting, like not to lash out, like really sitting with the emotion, processing it instead of lashing out at people, because that's how you develop emotional maturity. You really learn yourself by first, acting it out, but also learning to sit with the emotion and get through it yourself before impulsively spewing it out to everyone around you, like if it's anger and such, and just affecting the whole environment. Inner child work, because there's other ways. I said there's other ways to deal with the emotion after you process it. It won't be so explosive and affect the people around you. So healing practices, inner child work, boundary work, 12-step programs for addictions. Assign healthy pleasures. So find pleasurable activities, healthy activities that don't involve drugs, sex, alcohol, or smoking, that you can enjoy and grow in. Develop sensate intelligence. The affirmations of the sacral chakra, some of them. Breathe. Believe. I deserve pleasure in my life. I absorb information from my feelings. I embrace and celebrate my sexuality. Take a deep breath in between. Sit with it. My sexuality is sacred. I move easily and effortlessly. Life is pleasurable. So, I really encourage you to look up more affirmations, to speak them daily, so you begin to really embrace your sensuality, your emotions. Learn about your childhood abuses, research that as well, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, so you can get to the root of why maybe you're not having a pleasurable experience here on earth, as well as you're not able to really embrace your sensuality as a woman and man, because we both have those characteristics within ourselves. We both have a feminine and masculine energies within us, because we both come from a woman and man. So if we came from, a father that's absent, or maybe a mother that's absent, there's an imbalance there. So that's why healing those chakras, doing the inner child work is so important, so that you can really get to the root of why maybe your masculine side is imbalanced, or maybe your feminine's imbalanced, and really so that you can begin to enjoy life and feel alive again. So yeah, once again, I'm going to post the picture that I just read at the end of this video. And yeah, I'll be back with more information, because there's more I would like to share about the sacral chakra in the next video. I love you all. I pray you have a wonderful day. Take care.